Hello, welcome, and thanks for listening to Carbon Cli-MATES, an energy podcast dedicated to discussing all things energy, carbon, and sustainability. We also like to talk about what's getting hot, besides from our planet. I'm your host, Enya, and today I'm joined by my Carbon Cli-MATE and co-host, Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, and how's it going?
Yeah, it's going well. What about yourself?
Yeah, good. Excited to be here.
Yeah, excellent. So, how have you been keeping? Like, what have you been up to?
Um, Usual, just the trials and tribulations of running a small business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been very, very busy of late. Helping lots of clients get ISO certified and managing that with family life.
Yes, it's always that balance. Like, I'm kind of at the age now where I'm just like, I'm gonna need to, like, rein it back in because it seems to be like, it's like, yeah, work, like, it's like work, like, I'll stay, like, I'll go in 8 to 6, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna have to be leaving earlier. But yeah, speaking of your business, so what is your job title and the name of your business?
Well, my job title is managing director. That's a bit fancy, so I don't usually refer to myself as that. But yeah, I'm the MD and the MD of New Paradigm Consulting. And essentially, we help organizations achieve and maintain their ISO certifications. And we work with lots of different standards. So we work with ISO 9001, the quality standard, ISO 14001, the environmental standard, ISO 45001, the health and safety standard, ISO 27001, the information security. And we've also done some medical device, which is ISO 13485. And more recently, we've moved into PAS2060, which is the carbon neutrality standard.
Very good. Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
Good.
Like, yeah, no, that's brilliant. We're gonna delve more into that, like later on in the episode. But how long yourself have you been in this sector?
Well, I suppose in this kind of niche area of ISO consulting, I've been doing this since 2011 in terms of being self-employed and then starting a company. But prior to that, I was working in compliance from about 2006. So really showing me age here. I'm 17 years now. But yeah, that's how long I've been doing it.
Well, okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's doing well, like obviously.
Yeah, it's going well. It's going well.
And see, when you were at school, or so at secondary school, did you ever envisage yourself in a role like this?
I suppose it was always a part of me that wanted to run a business, a little bit of an entrepreneurial kind of streak in me. I didn't know what that business would be. I didn't know what I would do, but I just knew that I wanted to kind of run a business, run an enterprise, that type of thing. So I suppose no, and I think it's really hard at that age to know what you want to do. I don't think any 16, 17, 18-year-olds should know what they want to do for the next 30, 40 years. I know plenty of 40-year-olds who still don't know what they're going to do when they grow up. So, but yes, I always kind of knew that I wanted to do something. Just fell into ISO.
Pretty good. Yeah, because we first met maybe, only last year. But we first met, it was 2016 or 2017, I want to say.
Yeah, around then, early 2017, I think that project kind of finished because you came in on the back end of the project.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And that was kind of my first exposure to real life ISO accreditation and what it means to be ISO certified. So it's a very interesting process. And then that's the thing. As soon as it happened, I started to see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the amount of vans or transport trucks that you see, like the wee logos, like we are like ISO 9001, 18001, and is it 45,001?
It's 45,001 now, but when you were doing it wasn't. It was 18,000.
18,000. Yes, it was OHAS.
Yes,
OHAS,
that's right.
Which is the Occupational Health and Safety accreditation. But yeah, no, I just find it very interesting because the amount of careers or the amount of world it covers. Like it just opens you up to so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, okay, we can delve into it now. So, according to Indeed.com, ISO certification is a credential that validates a business's fulfillment of requirements relating to quality process standards as defined by the International Standards Organization. And it's a non-governmental organization that determines specifications for products, services, and systems for quality and efficiency. I also want to mention the PAS accreditation, which stands for Publicly Available Specification.
Yeah.
I was looking at you, I was like, have I got this right, or has Google failed me?
No, it's pretty much there. It's pretty much there.
But it's used to speed up standardization. And there's many different ones out there. I know you were talking about there, the PAS 20, I've got it written down, PAS 2060.
2060, yeah.
And that's the carbon neutrality. But then there's also PAS 2035, and that's the
Lots of them.
oh right, okay. There's
Tons of them.
but there's a lot in terms of the likes of energy efficiency and like building. So it's very interesting if you want a bit of light reading and all.
Oh yeah, if I need to go to sleep.
And one of the things that you mentioned or like you mentioned about your website covering a ton of different like all these accreditations. There is an AS 9100. So,
Yes, AS9100, yeah.
So aerospace quality manager certification. That is very cool.
Yeah, so you find a lot of the industries will have a very specific standard that's specific to them. So the likes of the aerospace, so essentially aerospace AS9100 is like ISO 9001 on steroids. So it's just got extra requirements that are very specific to the aerospace. The automotive sector has TS16949, and it's like ISO 9001, but with extra stuff on.
Yeah.
So there's a few standards like that are kicking around. The automotive's not very popular here on the island. There's not too much in the way of that supply chain, but there is quite a good aerospace supply chain.
Yes, with the big companies.
Absolutely, with Shorts, Bombardier, and Thompson Aerosealing. All those guys, all their supply chain essentially need AS9100.
Very good, yeah. Well, like one of the things that like I found very interesting, or the standards which I've seen the most, and I didn't realize were just kind of vital and the cornerstone. So it's the ISO 9001, the quality, ISO 14001, the environmental, and ISO 45001, the health and safety. There we go. I got it. But like they could all be in a business, and the employee doesn't know. Like they should know, but like they might not know. So like the quality, it could be stuff like dealing with problems among your staff. So if someone has a complaint about someone, that was my first instinct. I don't know why it was the first negative one. There's a lot of other stuff.
There could be a lot of other issues, yeah.
The environmental accreditation, that's the like recycling, or no, not like I'm trying to remember what like the environmental accreditation covered.
Well, it covers a lot. So, I mean, the first thing it wants you to do is establish a baseline for your current environmental performance. So, you guys, whenever you were doing the project, you would have looked at electricity consumption, fuel usage, and you would set targets around trying to improve your efficiencies in those areas or reducing your impact on the environment. But it also looked at your legal compliance as well.
Okay.
So you'd be obligated to identify the pieces of legislation you need to comply with, and then show the auditor, the big bad auditor, that you're doing all of those things.
Okay.
And that goes into everything, waste management, etc., etc. So
waste, yes, that was the big one, because like I used to work with this, like the IMS, the official title was IMS coordinator, but the waste, because there used to be a waste management plan, and you used to like have to say, okay, like how does your company take care of its waste? And I remember phoning up whatever company collected our waste, and like I think I had to get certification from them or make sure they were following a certain process.
You did. You had to get their waste transfer notes.
Yes, waste transfer notes.
Yeah,
it's all coming back to me now. Like
it never leaves you. It never leaves you.
And then of course the ISO 45001, the environmental health and safety. So that's stuff like, well, just health and safety. So first aid, a book, like if someone has an accident. And there's lots of different others. There's also it focuses on fire safety as well,
Absolutely,
doesn't
yeah.
it? So it's quite scary. I remember one of the times you have to form a fire like drill test.
Yeah,
And I'm like, it's calling one of the other guys. Which is
Come on, we
like,
gotta leave the building.
yeah. So everyone, can we please step outside?
Yeah.
And another thing was the COSH, so the control of substances hazardous to health.
Very good, yeah.
And I actually knew that from my previous job as well. So I'm like, I remember this. And I got really excited when I seen that.
The first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, really. But I was just like, I don't know what this is. I'm like, I'm gonna make a note of all our hazardous substances. And it was like 2 bottles of bleach. And I'm like, okay, brilliant.
Like, you guys were lucky. We have clients there who have maybe 500 chemicals, and that's a lot to get through.
Okay.
A lot.
That's like showing off, like, you know.
Oh, no, they don't want to have to do all those cost assessments. It's a real pain, but it's a necessity.
But the reason why I mentioned those 3 and why I've seen them more, so I've kind of shifted towards the life of construction energy assessment. But I remember, like at my previous company, one of the things that was a requirement when applying for jobs, so like jobs for developers, or big jobs, or I'm pretty sure it's any requirement now when you're about to go on a job or on a new project, is to have the ISO 9001, 14001, and 45001 qualifications. And it seemed to be those 3, like, you know, were the kind of key and cornerstone into, right, okay, like, yeah, you meet the requirements so you can come on this job.
Yeah, it really drives our business, actually, that requirement for organizations to have those standards in order to compete for those tenders. It really does drive how we win new business, essentially. You know, most of our client base would have come to us on the basis that they needed it in order to win new work.
Yeah.
So it really drives our business, which is great.
So, and one of the things I find really interesting about the PAS2060 accreditation, so the carbon neutrality. Just a quick question for you, just to test. Okay.
Oh no.
Can you tell me when the PAS2060 came into play?
It was released, the last one was released in 2014.
Okay.
So whenever you see those standards, they tend to have the name plus the year of release. So it was 2014, but it's taken a long time for anyone to really catch on to. It's only really in the last year or 2.
And I'm going to delve into this more, but all these standards, they're kind of they're controlled by the BSI, the British Standards, the British Standards Institution.
Yeah.
Or not maybe controlled, but under their...
They tend to create them and sell them.
Right, okay. Okay, here, it seems like, you know, the inside scoop, like, you know, like this is what really goes on, okay? Like, here's how you get a standard to the public, okay?
Oh, yeah, you need to go through BSI.
Right, okay.
And then it was the same with 18001. It was a British standard. And then it was adopted by ISO, and when they adopted it, they changed it from 18,001 to 45,001.
Okay, well, I was wondering about the number change as well, because I'm like, I was like, oh, maybe there was already an 18,001.
I think there's a huge amount of standards, huge amount. I can't remember what the old 18,000 would have been. I need to have a look at that, actually. But it's never something that we've offered. We've never offered ISO 18,001 before. Yeah. It was always the ISO 18,001. Very
good. Okay, so to the hard-hitting questions. Okay. So you're director you are the title again, the managing director of, I could have just kept director. Okay. Anyway, you're director of New Paradigm, and you help companies achieve this ISO accreditation certification. Can I ask you, what do you love most about your job?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a hard one to answer because there's not really one thing that I really love. I mean, I do get a kick out of the business development side, the sales side, you know, meeting a new customer for the first time, understanding their problems, showing them how we can address those problems, and you know, really setting the relationship off the right way. So I do get a kick out of that. one of the good things about doing what we do is that there's comfort in knowing the standard,
Mhm.
and but it's also great to apply that knowledge to so many different businesses and sectors. Like we work with charities, we work with cleaning companies, we work with recruitment companies, we work with heavy industry, construction, software houses, and we work with people all around the world. So,
Mhm.
we just finished a project there with a software house who's based in Pennsylvania, USA, and they also have a base in Spain.
Wow.
We're talking with a South African company at the moment as well. We've been to Lithuania, and we do lots around the UK and Ireland. So,
Yeah.
and you get to see lots of different organizations and how they work.
Mhm.
So that's a really good thing to do. Is exposes you to lots of different um, things that can be done. How a
Yeah.
business can run, which is really great.
It's very cool. My
Yeah,
goodness.
it's one of the benefits that we have actually, and one of the things actually my team really enjoys. They get to work with so many different
Mhm.
businesses.
I'm
Uh,
sure all your team like picks up bits of knowledge like from the companies.
Totally,
Yeah.
absolutely. You become like jack of
All
jack of
true.
all trades rather than a
Yeah.
master of any particular, which is nice in some ways, and in kind of modern society is almost more valuable.
Yeah. Hmm.
Knowing a little about a lot of different things can be very useful.
Hmm.
So I like that. I like seeing a client go from not having ISO to getting ISO, and then all the benefits that brings, like the new work, etc., and the standardized processes, and improving their bottom line. I like to see all of that. It's
Hmm.
nice to know that we had a hand in it.
Yeah.
You know. What else do I like? Um, I like I like that we've been able to grow a team.
Hmm.
So it was just me in the beginning, and now I like the fact that we can create employment, kind of grow the economy as such, and
Yeah.
create good quality jobs you know, that are interesting to do, but also have a focus on the work-life balance. I quite
Hmm.
like that, knowing my team enjoy what they do, but they also have time for their lives as well.
Yeah.
And that both of those can work together,
Hmm.
which I think is really important, especially after COVID. Everyone
Oh yeah.
reevaluated everything. So,
Definitely.
uh,
Like, because because I know your role would probably involve actually going to companies. You'd
mhm,
be like on the go anyway. But then the likes of I remember when Teams just came
mhm,
into play, and it seems so weird to have not
yeah,
used it before. Like, and it's like, wow,
absolutely.
this is the future, and like stuff can be done across there. You're like, okay, you can share your screen. You're like, this is what you do,
Yes, exactly.
okay?
Exactly. Yeah, it was a real revolution or a revelation for us actually. Teams, we were using it before, but our clients weren't.
Oh, right, okay.
And so there was some who were pretty tech savvy and we could work with them remotely. Some of our US clients, we were doing that anyway.
Hmm.
But then when COVID hit, everyone had to
Yeah,
go
just
remote,
adapt.
just
Like, yeah.
adapt. And so that allowed us now and that suits us and the team, that we can do a lot of what we do remotely. But
Hmm.
there's still that need to go and have boots on the ground,
Yeah.
make sure that everything is as the client says, and that we are supporting them the right way, instead of just being on the end of a screen saying do X, Y, and Z. We actually go and do it for them.
Yeah. That's it. They actually see it in action. Like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, and I feel like that's a better way to learn. Like you see the actual practicality of it. You're like, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, no. Thanks for explaining about your
No
job and
problem.
why you love it so much. So what sort of training or prep did you do to like for this role or creating this company?
um, Not really much specific training. There's very little out there in the way of ISO. You
Hmm.
can do a lead auditor course.
Okay.
They're about 2K.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a lot of
Okay.
money, and they're really not good value for money. I don't recommend
Right.
them.
Right. Okay.
That's probably strange to hear me say that, but I don't recommend them because they don't. Most people will do it to maybe learn how to put ISO into their business,
Okay.
and it's not going to teach you how to do that. So in my opinion, it's not good value for money. Best thing to do is, and what I done was, I worked with the business, and I was there like you were, their ISO
Yeah.
coordinator,
Yeah.
and I just had the advantage that the business at the time was maybe 700, 800 people strong with many sites around UK and Ireland. So I got exposed to the challenging part of ISO when it is multiple standards, multiple people, multiple sites.
Yeah.
And so I got a couple of years of implementing and running a system like that. And that really set me up in good stead for setting up the business to help other businesses as well.
Yeah, that's really well. That's an inspiring story, and I like the sound of it because it just like it shows that like you're exposed to like 2 year old of work, and you're like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, and
Yeah.
everything. And I think the problem we were chatting a bit before the podcast began, but like the problem is like the practical experience of like knowing what you want to do when you're 16. Like it's not like, I think loads of young people are realizing it's like kind of that's actually like not really possible. Like
Yeah.
you're at that age in your teenage years, even your 20s, it's gonna change like,
Absolutely.
constantly. And yeah, but if you're exposed to like an environment, so you don't just do academia, like, or you don't just do, okay, I'm going to learn all this, but then you actually get to the practical side and you're like, I actually don't want to do that. But if you're exposed to it from an early on stage, you're like, I'm more sure about what I want to do.
Yeah, you can see what you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely. But yeah, there's no real course that you can do. I think they cover a little bit about ISO and compliance in University of Ulster.
Okay.
I think there's one of the courses that they do there. Where they do they train the EHOs, environmental health officers. So there's a course around that, and there's a little bit in it.
Yeah.
And certainly one of my guys has done that course. There's really nothing like even taking an IMS coordinator out of their role and bringing them into what we do in the consultancy side. There's still a real uphill learning curve to go into a business you've never been into before and interpret their requirements as a standard for them and build a system for them.
Yeah.
That's different than just running a system that was created for you. So it's almost learning from the ground up every time.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because it's very like it's tailored towards like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, like it is, and it is a lot of work. Like I've seen the manuals, like they're like hefty boys, like
Yeah, but thankfully over the last few years we've been able to calm them down a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we've been constantly refining our processes. So I like to think that we put out the leanest manuals you can get.
I would still be in touch with maybe some people from my
Yes.
previous company, and one girl she sent like a selfie, and I seen the MS manual in the background. I'm like,
Oh, I helped create that.
that's class. Thanks, Ryan, for explaining more just about the training, about yourself, and kind of the progress to create your own company. Like, it's very interesting stuff. Okay, so now we're on to the difficult section of the podcast,
Okay.
and it's called the question round. Okay, and I like to do this and tailor it towards like the guests. Okay, and they come up with wacky names of them. And I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, and hopefully you get it right. So.
Okay.
This one, like, hopefully you've seen this movie because then you'll get it. So it's called International Standards and Where to Find Them.
Okay.
Like, have you ever seen Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them?
Yeah, yeah.
See when it's live, it'll work, okay?
Okay. I trust you. I trust you.
Okay. So we're discussing there. Most of the standards are made up or like brought up by the BSI, the British Standard Institution. There we go. The name completely blanked, but I got it in the end. Can you like hazard a guess when they were founded?
BSI.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 150 years ago, something like that.
You'd be close. You would be close. 1901.
1901. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fairly early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it became the British Engineering Standards Association in 1918, and then from that it adopted to the British Standards Institution, and it just kept on going. And yeah, it's based in London, and looks like a very official place. Got a photo of it here. But yeah, okay, brilliant. So second question.
Mhm.
There are 3 official languages of ISO.
Are there?
Okay.
I already don't know the answer.
Can you tell me 2 out of 3 of them?
I think English and German,
Oh, you're so close. There's English.
English and French.
Oh, right off the bat, yes.
Okay.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is, yeah.
And
No,
what's the other one?
Russian.
Russian. Oh, okay.
Would have expected Russian. I don't know why. Like,
Yeah.
would have thought something like the likes of German or yeah.
Mhm.
The more you know. Okay, every day's a learning day. Okay.
Absolutely, I've learned lots already.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, there's only like 2 questions in the international standards and where to find them round, so
Okay.
you're off the hook now. Okay, if we can go back. Because you know what, I did have more questions. Okay,
You just
but
didn't want to embarrass me.
well, like I didn't want to embarrass myself because you said these right off the bat. But what does ISO 9001 stand for?
It actually doesn't really stand for anything. A lot of people think that ISO stands for International Standards Organization, but it's actually the International Organization of Standards.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's just a prefix given to it. And in every standard, every kind of standard has its own unique identifier, i.e. the 9001. So there's a 9001 series of standards,
Yeah.
a 9000 series of standards. So there's 9004, which explains a little bit about ISO 9001.
Oh my goodness.
And
Okay.
it goes up to like 30s and stuff. So, but no one ever reads them, and nor do you ever really
Yeah.
need to read those. The only one that's certifiable there is the 9001
Right.
2015.
Okay. And is that the same for the 14,001?
Same.
Like, oh wow.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And then I assume the 45,001 as well.
All the same, yeah. There's usually in a group like
Mhm.
that, then they only certify one of them.
Okay.
And 9001's like 1 million plus certificates around the world. Accredited certificates now. 14,001's maybe 10% of that.
Right.
45,001's even less.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, and those are the 3 most popular.
Oh.
So 9001 wins by a long, long way.
That's what, that is definite pub quiz knowledge. I feel like if there's a particular pub quiz, like the BSI created a pub quiz, like that is that'll be one of the questions, definitely. And then the third question, see, I had like about 5 questions prepared, but I'm like, the first 3 right off the bat, I'm like, we've already discussed this, like, oh my goodness. But I was going to say, and I actually got this question wrong, okay? I was going to say, what happened in 2018 to a particular ISO standard? But as you were saying, it was 2020 to the ISO, the OHAS 18,001.
Yeah, it was at 45
changed to 45,001. So yeah, my memory did not serve me correctly in that.
You were close.
I kind of played back and was like, I was there, and I think I remember that happening.
Mhm.
So it must be that date, but no.
But yeah, every company gets like 3 years to transition
to
the new version. So if it came out in 2018, you had until roughly around 2020, 2021, depending on when your cycle ended, to upgrade to the new version. So you guys mightn't have upgraded until like 2020.
Okay.
Which is why you might remember 2020.
Very good. Okay. I'll accept that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the other questions I wanted to ask you, that like I didn't send on your crib sheet before this podcast episode, so apologies. But just like a talk through the ISO the ISO accreditation process. From what I remember, so the IMS manual is created and tailored to that that particular company. You create like all the different standards they need, like all the notes they need, all the files they like need or need to refer to, and then the company pretty much puts it in action, and then they operate like that for is it a period of 6 months or until they perform an audit by the accredited third party accreditation. Yeah. And they come in and do an audit. Is an audit a year or?
Yeah, so I mean, you're right. The very first stage, and I'll kind of walk you through our process. The very first stage is the gap analysis to understand what the client already does and how they align with the standards.
Okay.
ideally, and if you think about it like a big jigsaw, ideally you'll supply as many pieces as possible, and we fit in the bits that are missing. And then what we supply you with is a completed system that you now have to implement. And once you start using it, then you're kind of preparing yourself for the upcoming audit. Now, in year one, that very first year, the cert body, that's a third party accredited CB, and they will do 2 audits. At stage 1, audit is essentially document review. Do you have your system in place? Does it align with the requirements of the standards that you're seeking certification to? And if they're happy, then they let you through to the next stage. And usually about 6 to 8 weeks later, they'll do a stage 2 audit, which is are you walking the walk? You told me you're going to do this. Show me that you are doing it. Show me that you've done your audits. Show me that you've got your waste transfer notes. Show me that you've done your cost assessments. Show me that you've done your risk assessments. Show me that you're checking your quality on your products. And once you get that audit over you, you can tell the rest of the world you're ISO certified.
Right, okay.
Okay, and then you get into that cycle of maintaining that system, doing all the things you need to do. And then generally speaking, every year, an auditor will come out to see you. Some cert bodies like BSI, who was spoken about, might come out every 6 months. But generally speaking, that's the process.
Right, okay. That's like, yeah, I just want to outline that in my head because I remember there was so much. Like, I remember, like, you know, you guys came in, you gave us the manual, you're like, okay, do this. And then I remember auditors at different times, and I'm like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
Just show up. It's like, and you're doing this today. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But no, Brian, thank you so much for coming on the podcast because you've been an absolute delight to talk to, and also just talking about your career path and the type of work you do. So interesting. I hope it's inspired a lot of other people to follow what they want to do and like just to find out what's out there. But before you go, do you have any advice for future professionals that might want to get into the ISO sector or industry?
I suppose if you were, first and foremost, very few people know about ISO anyway. So if you do find yourself in that position where you're kind of going, I like the sound of that, which I don't think there's too many people. But what I would suggest is really get a good sound knowledge of the different functions within a business. So understand what the purpose of the purchasing department is, understand the purpose of the sales department, how operations work, HR, accounts, having a real sound knowledge of all the components of a business and how they interact to deliver that service to the customer or that product to the customer is really important. And I think if they do what you did and become the IMS coordinator, the system coordinator, or the ISO person in the business, I think that would be a big help. Learn to do that first. And, you know, anyone who's listening to this who does ISO will know that if someone came to volunteer themselves to be that person, they would quite happily hand it off. You know, it tends to be added to, certainly in an SME, it's added on to the HR manager's list of duties or the ops manager or whatever it may be. And they're usually super busy and don't have time to give it.
Actually,
you know, the give it what it deserves to make it run right. So if you can volunteer, you could really build a career around compliance, and you would get exposed to so much within a business. Particularly the internal audits would help you really understand the business. They're really fantastic. Any kind of junior staff that we're dealing with in a client, I would always say, like, put yourself forward for the internal audits. You'll learn so much about the business.
That's really
my advice. I don't think there's no course or anything you can do. So it's real on the job learning. That's
you know what, that's the best type of learning. That was this type of learning for me. Like, it's funny because the business I was in before, we installed insulation, whereas this one I'm more assessing installation and the thermal performance and see the difference. Like, it was so, like, I'm just like, it was more like you're installing insulation, like, okay, check off this, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, the thermal performance, like, there's so much you have to take into account.
And it's great that you can see both sides. Use that experience of what the installers are up against versus what you guys are looking for, and you can maybe see the challenges that the installers have.
I feel like, because like I've been in this kind of role about 6 years, so I'm definitely forgetting the other side. It happens. But yeah, no, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. And hopefully, if you're not too busy, I know new paradigm, absolutely flat out. But if you're not too busy, we'd love to have you back on, or
Sure.
anyone else from your organization.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I usually like to end on a pun as well. And I usually try and make it up like during the episode.
On the who.
Yeah. And it's gonna be something like, oh yeah, I know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be like, yeah, set your own standard, like, for like what you want from your work life.
Absolutely. That's a good motto to have.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it inspires some people. Well, let's see.
Hopefully.
Okay, thanks for listening to Carbon Cli-MATES. If you follow us on Instagram at carbon_Cli-MATES, you can keep up to date with our latest news or episode uploads, or when we're next posting. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye. Do you want to say bye?
Bye.